evening and welcome to TiVi Tuần-san News of the Week. My name is Emma Doe. In what's making headlines this week, crowds of Vietnamese workers from a Samsung factory clash with Korean security. Kim Jongnam's suspected killers appear in court. And a Melbourne rally organised for victims of the Formosa toxic spill. In this week's top story, officials are investigating an incident which saw crowds of Vietnamese workers clash with Korean security in the country's northern province of Bac Ninh. Police from Yên Phong district said the violence on Tuesday broke out at Samsung Display, a screen production unit of the South Korean company. It's reported that about 1,000 workers gathered in front of the company. State media cited a representative from Samsung Vietnam confirming no conflict took place. Instead, the company said the case was a misunderstanding between the company's security guard team and construction workers. Samsung Display has recently received a license to invest $2.5 billion in Vietnam. The extra funding is expected to boost its total investment in the country and will increase the plant's capacity to 220 million products a year from the current 180 million. The Vietnamese and Indonesian women suspected of killing the North Korean leader's half-brother with a toxic nerve agent could be hanged in Malaysia if convicted. Yesterday, Vietnamese national Doan Thị Hương and Indonesian woman Siti Asia appeared in court where charges were read out against them. If found guilty of the murder, they could face the death penalty. Both women deny their intent to kill Kim Jongnam. They have said they thought they were part of a TV prank show playing tricks on unsuspecting passengers. Asia told authorities she was paid about $120 for the prank. The North Korean leader's half-brother died on the way to hospital 20 minutes after both women wiped the deadly nerve agent across his face on separate occasions. Malaysian police are still searching for a number of North Korean suspects. Roadside shops in Hanoi have been told by local police to move their stalls off the footpath. Signboards, tables and illegally parked cars on pedestrian footpaths are a common sight across Vietnam. But police in Hanoi's Hoàng Kim district have started a new campaign to clear the sidewalks. On Tuesday, police removed a refrigerator from the footpath and fined a number of people for failing to remove their belongings from the street pavement. The city has been attempting to keep pavement encroachment at bay since March last year, but have struggled to keep the problem under control. Japanese Emperor Akihito and Empress Michiko arrived in Vietnam on Tuesday for their first ever visit to the country. During their 6-day visit, the imperial couple are expected to meet a dozen surviving widows and family members of Japanese war veterans. These widows likely married Japanese soldiers after the 1940s when Japan invaded Vietnam. About 700 Japanese soldiers remained in the country after the end of World War II. After helping Vietnam become independent of French colonial rule, the Japanese soldiers were later called home when Vietnam became a communist country and Japan found itself on the other side of the Cold War. These soldiers were unable to bring their Vietnamese families back. The Emperor and Empress's visit will also include a private meeting with Vietnam's president. Japan is now Vietnam's largest foreign donor and one of its top foreign investors. Foreign tourists to Vietnam could be charged an extra fee if they choose to spend their nights at a hotel with 3 stars or more. The proposed surcharge, spurred by the National Administration of Tourism, said foreigners would pay about 60 Australian cents on top of their hotel bill. The money would go to a state-planned tourism fund, and the funds would then be used to pay for a year of promotional campaigns to attract more tourists to Vietnam. The proposed tourism fund would also source money from the state budget, visa sightseeing fees and private sponsorship. The National Tourism Agency will submit the proposal at Vietnam's National Assembly in June. The first 2 months of 2017 saw 2.2 million foreign visitors enter Vietnam, a 33% increase compared to the same time last year. Vietnam has rejected a fishing ban China has imposed in parts of the disputed South China Sea. China's Ministry of Agriculture on Monday issued a seasonal ban on fishing in a number of sea waters from May 1st to August 16. In a statement, Foreign Minister spokesman Le Hai Binh said the move violated Vietnam's sovereignty and further complicates the situation in the region. He said China's unilateral action goes against international law, adding that Vietnam has full legal grounds and historical evidence to prove its sovereignty claims. China claims most of the South China Sea, while Vietnam, Taiwan, Malaysia, the Philippines and Brunei claim a portion of the waters. 4 Vietnamese nationals have been released from custody by UK police after they were found working at a cannabis farm in the southwest of England. Police found 3 teenagers, believed to be about 19 years old, and an adult man in his 30s. All are believed to be victims of human trafficking. British newspaper The Guardian reported that the 4 men were found during a midnight raid. They were working in a nuclear bunker with no natural light, fresh air or running water. Police found several thousand plants in the bunker, estimated to be worth over $1.5 million. Police are investigating how the men came to be in the bunker, though no further action is being taken against them. Last year, UK police discovered a number of large cannabis operations, including one at a former bank, another at a disused sports centre in Wales, and a recently emptied GP surgery in the country's northwest. Back to news in Australia. 5 people allegedly involved in a high-level Vietnamese drug syndicate have been charged with trafficking offences. They are accused of distributing a drug concoction that led to deaths in Melbourne and will remain behind bars until their cases are heard later this year. St Albans man Nghi Le has been charged with 29 offences, including 3 counts of attempted murder, assaulting police and possessing an unregistered firearm. On Monday, the 33-year-old, who had been on the run, handed himself into police after sparking a 5-hour standoff, which saw shots fired in Melbourne's northwest. According to The Age, Mr. Le and 4 others, aged between 26 and 55, were part of a months-long investigation which revealed that the group were part of a syndicate linked to Vietnam and Hong Kong. They allegedly imported a combined 117 kilograms of methamphetamines, cocaine, heroin and MDMA. All 5 have been remanded to appear before the court on June 20. The Vietnamese community in Australia, Victorian chapter, has invited the public to join them in their call for justice for the Formosa victims in Vietnam. Vietnam's central provinces are still reeling from an environmental disaster caused last year by the Formosa Hardent steel plant. It saw tens of millions of fish die along the country's central coast. The incident has disrupted the livelihoods of people in multiple provinces after the steel plant released toxic wastewater into the sea. This Saturday, the association will hold a rally beginning at 1 p.m. in front of Melbourne City Square, then moving along to Bourke Street and ending on the steps of Parliament. The 3-hour event will include a number of speeches by religious and community representatives, as well as politicians. At 6 p.m, a prayer for the Formosa victims will be held in Flemington at St Vincent Liam Centre. In January, the Vietnamese Environment Minister said that it will take at least a decade for the country to completely recover from the incident. That's all from TiVi Tuần-san News of the Week. For more stories, you can follow TiVi Tuần-san at tvtsonline.com.au and Facebook at TiVi Tuần-san. I'm Emma Doe. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to your company at the same time next week.